Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So, first things first, this is the last episode I'm going to put out for not for the foreseeable, but just for a month. I'm going to take August off. I'm aware that technically next Tuesday is still in July, but that's going to take a break and we will be back in September. I'm planning to use August because these are quiet months for people listening, and hopefully I can get some interviews lined up which will make my first few episodes in September a bit more cool. And not that there's anything wrong with having to listen to me. I'm sure you love it, but I think it's great getting guests on and finding their, views and things in life. And what I plan to do in August is get myself ahead of the game and get a couple of episodes up and recorded and ready to go when people hopefully have a little bit of extra spare time as well. And then in September, we will be go with our new episodes. So that's just to let anyone know, if you are wondering where the episodes are for the next couple of weeks, that is why. And I will still be posting for the few weeks that I'm not doing episodes. I'm going to be posting the From the Vault episodes. So all episodes I think are great. I think they're all great, to be fair, but ones that I think are worth the listen. Sometimes interviews, sometimes solo episodes, and I just like to reshare them to just remind people, because I have over 160 episodes now. So it's worth just reminding people that they're there for people. You never know, you might find something that really resonates with you. I find sometimes the best thing I can do is just scroll back and you find some of the best episodes of older podcasts. So maybe this will be good for you too. Now that I have that out of the way, on to today's episode topic. So, basically, I wanted to talk about kind of the importance of having patience, um, and delaying gratification, I suppose, but also being willing to make difficult decisions to reach your goals. Now, I'm saying this as someone who is still learning all this as well. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I know a lot of people who are much better at this than I am, but I think over the years I've learned that it is very, very important to kind of have these three. If you are trying to achieve something, that could be anything from fitness to a life goal to a career goal. And I think we need to kind of think about that a bit more in our lives. For example, I'm very good at that when it comes to fitness, but when it comes to other things, I want things to happen almost straight away, and I wonder why it's not happening. And, I think with the way the world's gone, I've spoken about this loads before, things are so easy at your fingertips, so many different things. You want food, you can order it and be there in half an hour. You want something off Amazon, you can have it the next day. There's so many areas of our life that are so easy to um, get things quickly. It can make it seem like something's not right when you have to wait. And I think a lot of it, people have forgotten the whole saying, good things come to those who wait, which I think is very true. You have to be patient, but also you need to take action. So you can't just sit there waiting for it to come to you. But that's just a whole other thing. And we'll delve into that maybe a little bit more. But I think I'm going to start off with patience, okay? And patience isn't just about waiting. It's actually, you want to maintain a positive, proactive attitude while you're working towards your goal. So that's what I was saying. Good thing comes to those who wait. Yeah, you can sit there and wait, but if you're not actually making actual steps towards the goal, you're not going to get anywhere. And look, sometimes progress is always slower than you think it'll be. There will be setbacks, there will be obstacles, there's always going to be things that are going to get in your way. But it's understanding that is not like, that's another thing I think, people come up with ideas, or, in the first obstacle they stop because it's difficult. And, it's always going to be difficult. That's normal. If it was difficult, if it was easy, everyone was doing, is the old saying. But being willing to take that time and take that, like, time to figure out the obstacle instead of going, oh, that's a sign, I'm done. That's not patience. It's, you have to understand the, like, meaningful achievements do take time. And anyone who is successful, or you deem successful, will tell you that there are obstacles, there are setbacks, part of the journey. Like, if you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself hard enough, there should be failures. It's all part of it. And failures aren't a bad thing. They're actually ways of learning, unless you don't learn from them and you use those failures and you take them to heart and you give up. And again, I'm saying this as someone who is still learning and still, I suppose, mastering these things and remembering when I have setbacks, or, things aren't going the way I want, that it's okay. That's part of life. It's not a reflection on me. I'm not a failure. You know, that's another thing I think, when things go wrong, we tend to internalize them and blame ourselves, when often it's not us, it's not our fault. So remember that. Now, some of them are your fault, but remember that if you learn from it, a failure is fantastic. If you don't and you give up because of it, a failure is not so fantastic. And as I was saying before, like, because things are so fast paced, we often seek, like, we want immediate results. We want it happening yesterday. And the best, you know, things that have come to us are not overnight. Like, most overnight successes, yeah, you see an overnight success of 10 years of work. I've even been involved in startups and looking at how much work goes into it. And I've only been like a sideline character. And you're seeing something that's incredibly successful over a short period of time, but people in charge of that have been involved in this kind of thing for 10, 12 years beforehand. Maybe not this exact thing, but all the learnings they've gotten from the previous startups they've ran and worked are what is leading to success now. So, you know, it's very important to remember that, I think. And, you'll always see the finished product and compare yourself, but you never think about the amount of work that went into it. I think people are really bad for that. And when you see yourself doing this, going back to my comparison episode last week, it is really, really important to take a step back and actually ask yourself, why is it making you feel that way? And is it true that they just did that with no effort? Um, Even things that you think like are flukes, the people are putting themselves in a certain position at a certain time for that to happen. Very, very rarely these fluke occurrences happen literally by fluke, if you look into it deep enough. um and this is how the most successful people are successful. They keep their eyes on the prize, even when things get difficult, and they keep pushing through. And that resilience, as well as along with the patience, that really make a difference between people from certain types of people. um and that resilience, that patience, the endurance to keep moving forward and keep practicing those skills and keep learning and growing. Because if you are not learning, as I said before, if you are not growing through the journey, you are going to get nowhere. And that's just so important, and people, I think, neglect it constantly. And with these goals we are looking for, and with the patience, there is always going to have difficult decisions, right? So many choices we have, and some are really, really tough. And this goes from everywhere. It could be leaving a comfortable job to follow a passion, ending a relationship that no longer serves you. Difficult decision to make. Thankfully, I was not on the end. I didn't make that decision, but it was a good decision made for me. And, you know, even like making significant financial investment in your future, like these shape our paths. Like it's so often, I think I find people are like, they won't invest in themselves and they're trying to do things on the cheap, and they're trying to, you know, get through things when they could make it a lot easier. Sometimes you do have to sacrifice a bit of money at the time, but in the long run, it'll be worth it. And we just can't see that. We can only see the now, which is a little bit hinders us sometimes. You know, uh, when you can't see that, like, the reason to do it. You know, and look, making difficult decisions. There's so many different decisions you have to make. Even some little things, like when I say investing in your future, like that could literally be you deciding not to go out one night because you're trying to save, because you want to move away, or you want to buy a house, or whatever you want, but you need that money. And yeah, of course, it's fucking fantastic to go out and hang out with your mates, but realistically, you will end up spending a couple of hundred that you didn't have. You'll feel bad after it. Whereas if you maybe cut down on the nights out, this is just a very simple one. You save some money, and then you feel good about it, and you are moving in that investment phase towards what you are wanting to do. So again, the investing doesn't necessarily mean that you have to kind of use money you don't feel like you have right now. It could be literally choosing not to go out, choosing not to do that spending binge on clothes, choosing not to go and get a takeout and cook your own food, or batch cook for the week so you've saved money on food. Like, this is also investing in your future, because the money you save from that, you can then put forward to what you're trying to do. Um, and look, there's a lot of courage involved. You need a clear sense of your values and goals when you're making these decisions, because if you don't, you will not commit to them. Um, and they're not fun. You know, there is some, can be short term discomfort. And the thing is, it is uncomfortable making decisions like this. You know, but there's a long term benefit to it. So, you know, it is worth it. Uh, you know, as I said, nothing worth having comes easy. Decisions, the really challenging stuff, nothing that, you know, nothing grows in the comfort zone. So these challenges are really what help us grow and help us achieve the best and the things that we want in life. And this is all tying into the delayed gratification. This is what I'm talking about. Those difficult decisions you are making are for delaying gratification. That having that patience is delaying gratification. You know, they all tie back into this, you know. And as I said, like, we're in that age of instant everything. You know, you put something up and you're like looking for the social media likes for that dopamine hit. Um, your Amazon delivery same day, next day, you know, and these are all small things, like they're not big things, but when your brain becomes wired and used to getting these things, it can be a lot harder to wait for those bigger things, you know. And it's really a skill that we, I think, overlook. And again, these massive successful people, or the people we look up to, have honed the skill. They are used to it. It doesn't matter what you're what you look at. If you look at a business person who has multiple businesses, that didn't happen overnight. If you look at a social media star, or a, you know, an influencer, that didn't happen overnight. Very rarely did it. And even the ones who may have had a leg up from a TV show or something, they have to put incredible amounts of work to show up on that social media all of the time, because and they have to present themselves in a certain way, because the brands expect that, you know. People invest money in them, and it's a job. And I think people forget that. Like, it's not as simple as taking a few selfies and you're in. A lot of people spend years of work to go viral, or some people go viral by accident, and that's the end of it. Like, it's not a set in stone. You'd see these people who may be viral or are constantly putting out content. These are people who are working constantly, um, and it's very easy to want to just take a break and step off, whereas people who go viral overnight can disappear just as quickly. I think a lot of people with the social media comparison do not realize that, and I think a lot of people think it's a lot easier uh, to become social media famous. I don't think they realize how much work and editing and stuff that goes into it, but they learn quick enough because they want that immediate pleasure. Um, when they will get some of it, but they won't get what they want, and you need to be focused on that and happy enough to take the days where you don't get the views, the follows you want, because you have a long term goal in mind. And it's it's just like it's interesting, um, and that's just like your social media idea. Because I've seen loads of people who kind of joined something like that or set something up, and within a few months have given up because it didn't. They basically didn't go viral as soon as they wanted to, or the person they follow that they think they should be as good as, um, they haven't gotten it in a couple of months. I think another way of thinking about it is like I had described this a little bit, as I said, was like, saving money instead of spending it right away. You know, like that, making the choice not to go out with your friends, making the choice not to do that binge on clothes that you probably don't need, um, for that dopamine high, but you have invested that money now into something that could be just putting a bit of savings away. It could be putting money into a bit of software that you needed. It could be so many different things that you are now, that saving has gone towards something that is pushing you towards your goal. Like investing time in learning a new skill instead of binge watching a TV series, or if you have ADHD, doing both at the same time. um, but like that again, binge watching TV series, great, fantastic, nothing wrong with it. Just want to say that, nothing wrong with it. Oh God, sorry, I keep dropping my pop shield. But if you want to improve editing, for instance, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time doing it, and it gets better and it gets quicker over time. But it is something that's going to take hours of work, and the longer the content, the more you're going to need to do it. And some people want to edit less, which is fine. And of course, my favorite is sticking to your workout routines, you know, making a plan for your week and showing up each week, like me, making my plans. I'm not 100% on them, but I'm getting a lot better. Even the days you don't want to do it, showing up, getting it done, especially if it involves having to get up early, sleeping in so much nicer, turning off the alarm is wonderful. But, you know, is it going to move you towards your goal? No, unless you go training in the evening, which you can do too. But sometimes you have to make that decision. When are you going to do it? Is it exactly at that point, or if you're going to not do it at all, that could be, that's you making a decision that you don't want that goal. Realistically, maybe don't believe you deserve it. I don't know. There could be many reasons, but a lot of it is to do it. You just don't actually really prioritize that or want to do the work because it's hard. Um, and as like I've talked about resilience. It's discipline as well, and these are all things that we need to achieve our long term goals. Because, as I said, anything worth doing takes time. So if you can push yourself through these times you don't want to do things, it's going to slowly compound into an amazing result. So I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to talk about. I hope this made sense. These are three things, as I said, they all kind of tie into each other. Being patient, making tough decisions, and then delaying gratification. These are fundamental principles for success. Like, you need to be able to do these or you will not be successful. End of. if you want to get to the point where you can hire people to do all this stuff for you, you need to be able to do that first, These things help us stay focused on a long-term vision. It's very easy to just think week in advance, but if you have an absolute set goal, you can create this vision, you can create a roadmap to it, you can break down the goal and figure out into smaller chunks how you're going to achieve that goal, Um, and this helps you get through those challenges that are going to happen. They're going to be, it's going to happen. And then when you master all of that, you should ultimately achieve your aspirations or your goals, whichever one you want to say. And as I said, this is something I am working on myself. I am not perfect at it, and it's something that takes a lot of time. And there's sometimes you will have bad times with it, and there'll be good times with it. It is not linear. One thing I've learned about everything in life is not linear. It's never the way you want it to be, and that's fine. But you have to be willing to do the work, even on the times you don't want to, in order to have a chance of making it. And with that, I'm going to leave you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are looking to follow me or, let me know how you found the episode, you will find me on Instagram and TikTok. It is at Strong in the Saddle with an underscore TikTok. And sorry, not TikTok, on Instagram. On TikTok, there's no underscore because I got there first and I didn't have to put an underscore in. And you can also find my website is www.chrissyhawkins.com. If you want to, there's a little contact form. If you want to give me a shout or drop me a DM, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the podcast. As I said, I will be taking a little break and we'll be back in September, hopefully with some really cool interviews. I am planning them right now and I have some really cool people that I'm planning on interviewing. So lots to look forward to in September. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. I hope August goes well for you, and I will talk to you soon. I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.